The introduced feral pig is widely distributed throughout eastern and northern Australia, with some smaller populations in the south and west. The areas they occupy are restricted by the availability of water, which is essential for their survival in the drier parts of their range. The pig has a classical omnivorous diet, eating a range of plants, animals and insects. This, combined with its ability to adapt its activity to suit its environment, enables it to occupy a wide range of habitats. Its high numbers and extensive range make it a significant agricultural and environmental pest. They prey on newborn lambs, eat and destroy grain crops, reduce yields of sugarcane and some tropical fruit, compete with stock by eating and damaging pasture, and damage fences and water resources. They also have a potential role in spreading diseases such as leptospirosis and sparganosis, as well as exotic diseases such as foot and mouth disease, should it ever get into Australia. On the other hand, feral pigs are also a commercial resource that is worth about $20 million a year. The reproductive potential of pigs is more similar to that of rabbits than to other large mammals. Under favourable conditions, sows can produce 2 litters every 12 to 15 months, with an average of 6 piglets per litter. This ability to quickly replace lost animals means the effective control requires careful planning and coordinated action. A series of steps needs to be followed to ensure maximum benefits. Except in rare cases, it's not possible to eradicate feral pigs. Usually, managers aim to reduce their density to a level where the damage they cause is acceptable. Alternatively, pigs can be excluded from selective areas. The range of available control methods should be considered, and often combined use of several techniques is required. Results should then be carefully assessed so that future action can be decided. The control methods available are trapping, aerial and ground shooting, fencing, habitat destruction and poisoning. A number of these controls should be integrated over an area of about 50 square kilometres to ensure the home range of the pig is covered and to reduce the chances of reinvasion into treated areas. The selection of a particular method will depend on available finance, physical resources, time, labour, habitat and perceived risk to the enterprise and cost effectiveness. Trapping is a popular, effective form of control which can contain low populations of pigs but is of limited value in medium populations and useless in high populations. Ground shooting might be a popular sport but a waste of time as a control measure unless only a few pigs are present. It yields very few pigs for the time and effort involved and can severely disrupt poisoning or trapping programs.
Well, I think that poisoning them is the only way to go. You can shoot them till you're black in the face and they'll still keep jumping up in front of you. I've driven around this place when they've been shooting and had a ladder in the back of the Toyota, and I've got up on the back of it and you can see pigs for half a mile in front of you just running away like mad, yet you don't see any. But if you look further, over the lignum or cover, you can see heaps of them.
Helicopter shooting is becoming increasingly popular because it can reduce the population by about 80% in a matter of hours, whereas poisoning will take days. Compared with poisoning, it's competitive on a cost per pig basis, cheaper per hectare and species specific. Additionally, it can be used in all seasons and in most feral pig habitats except closed forest. It's the only practical way of controlling feral pigs in wetlands. Fencing, either conventional or electric, can significantly reduce and in some cases eliminate damage by feral pigs. No matter what type of fence is used, it's imperative that it be correctly maintained, otherwise feral pigs will quickly get through it. Electric fencing is cheaper, but each situation should be judged on its merits.
On the pig control program that we initiated here originally had very limited effect. We had to do it every year or more often to try and save some lambs. Unless it's a group effort, there's no point in trying to start on it. I overcame that problem by using electric fencing to lamb ewes inside it, which was satisfactory. I've abandoned that now because of the benefit of the overall pig control program. But I'm concerned that it is just a local area and it should be statewide or Australia-wide.
Right. You're talking about electric fences with your lambs and you've abandoned that. What sort of percentage of increase in lambing you had since you've been involved in the concerted program?
Well, prior to the using electric fencing, I was averaging 80%. With electric fence, I raised that to 94%, and since 1980, we haven't marked under 100% of lambs, up to 120% last year.
Poisoning with 1080 bait is currently the most popular control method. Kill rates of 95% can be obtained in well-organised programs. At least a 70% kill is needed to prevent pigs rapidly recovering their numbers. Poisoning programs give the best results when pigs are stressed for food and water. It's much easier to get pigs to accept baits when food and water are scarce. During hot weather, pigs need to drink every day. Managers can take advantage of this by placing bait in stock-proof stations near watering points. When feed and water are abundant, pigs are much more difficult to poison because they don't congregate. Instead, they disperse widely. Two main techniques are used: trailing, which is widely used around crops and in stock-free paddocks. The second involves the construction of a special enclosure at a point used by a large number of feral pigs. These enclosures should be at least 20 by 30 metres. They're designed specifically to allow feral pigs access, but not domestic animals. To exclude sheep from a bait station, the fence should consist of ring lock or hinge joint. Cattle can be excluded by a 4 or 5 strand barbed wire fence. Whichever fence is constructed, it's important that the bottom wire be no more than 25 centimetres from the ground, otherwise sheep will get underneath. The bait station can be built cheaper and stronger if existing features such as trees, stumps or other fences are used. Once the baiting site is selected and the bait station constructed, free feeding begins. This is a critical phase because it determines how successful the program will be. The purpose of free feeding is to attract pigs from as wide an area as possible to the bait station by using attractants such as kangaroo and sheep carcasses. During several days of free feeding, unpoisoned bait, which can be grain, pellets or diced vegetables and fruit, is added and eventually substituted. About 20 to 30 kilograms is enough to start free feeding. This is increased nightly depending on the number of pigs taking part. Poisoning should not take place until the nightly bait take has levelled out. The poisoned feed is fed at about the rate of 75% of the last unpoisoned feed. The lower feed rate is because the pigs will begin to feel ill after about 30 to 40 minutes and stop eating. There should be some poison bait left in the bait station after the initial poisoning, and this should be left another night to pick up any stragglers. Any remaining bait after that time should be destroyed. Poisoned pigs should be collected and destroyed by burning or burying so that working dogs are not killed by secondary poisoning. Dogs are very susceptible to 1080 and should not be allowed near poisoned areas unless muzzled. 1080 poison bait can only be obtained from a Rural Lands Protection Board. There are certain legal obligations regarding public notification and distance restrictions that have to be complied with. These are explained in a publication received when poison bait is collected. Poisoning or any other single control method will not completely solve the feral pig problem. Follow-up work integrating other control methods such as fencing, trapping, ground and aerial shooting will be needed to prevent pigs causing unacceptable damage.
Helicopter shoots are organised by the inspectors from the Rural Lands Protection Boards. They're organised on a group basis, that is to say a large number of properties in one program. For the obvious benefits, it'd be totally uneconomical for individual properties to conduct their own programs, and it's far more beneficial to everyone concerned if this type of program is actually applied over a vast area. Sometimes up to 15, 20 landowners or more in one program, there's one group program. The actual organisation is the most critical aspect of this type of program. Getting people together, getting areas on maps organised, fuel drops, Local knowledge is very, very important as to where the pigs are or are likely to be or where they have been. There's no use having a program designed and planned for an area and you've got one or two properties or individuals that don't participate. It's an absolute waste of time.
Looking for signs of pig activity can help determine the size of the feral pig population and help with planning control such as where best to place traps and 1080 bait stations. The base of trees should be inspected for rubbing patches, while pads and tracks along bush and lignin should be checked for signs of high pig activity. Locating these areas on a map can assist with planning the control action. For best results, feral pig control needs to be well planned and strategically applied. The effectiveness of any program will depend on a number of feral pig and related factors. For example, feral pigs need ready access to water and cover from extreme heat. Lambing away from areas of prime pig habitat can reduce losses. Also, feral pigs require access to alternative food sources, especially when lambs are not available. Reducing the access by feral pigs to these alternative food sources or targeting control around these food sources can greatly increase the effectiveness of a control program. Above all, coordinated action is the key. More information on feral pigs and how best to control them can be found in the Bureau of Resource Sciences book, Managing Vertebrate Pests, Feral Pigs. State and territory pest animal authorities, such as the Rural Lands Protection Boards and the Departments of Agriculture, can also help.